We're doing as well as we can.
We are.
We're live.
We are live. Oh, we're so live. We're liver than you'll ever be.
I don't know what that really means.
That's the name of the first Rolling Stones bootleg.
Liver than you'll ever be.
Official release number 22. Nice.
I'm not gonna say anything like.
I don't know. I'm not one for formalities. You're good. But that's why you're here.
I'm like the master of ceremonies.
In a way.
Mistress of ceremonies. Hi, friends, and thank you for joining us.
There we go. Welcome to Night 7 of Zappadan.
I'm super proud of us. Night 7. What an accomplishment.
11 to go.
I always forget that it's only 18 nights.
Only.
I mean, what else can be accomplished in 18 nights?
Pick up a habit.
I thought doesn't it take 28 days?
21.
21 days. Well, tonight we have a good album for you. Zoot, Allures, which was one of my favorite phrases in French class.
What does it mean in English, pray tell?
It kind of just means like goodness, gosh, golly me. Like,
is it a vulgarity?
No, it's not a vulgarity. It's pretty benign. It's not like, oh my God, because that's like, mon Dieu is oh my God, or like, my God, but...
Those white trousers.
I like the white trousers at that time period. I do not now, but yeah, Zoot Allures is like, goodness. Goodness, gosh, golly me.
I'd say that's a fitting title.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is Frank's first album, officially without the Mothers. The Mothers had taken a couple of breaks between 66 and 75. This is his first album without the Mothers, and they never reunite with him again. And we only hear from them again from Zappa from the past. Blasts
True.
From the past.
Very true.
So, as his first solo album, Gone are the hairy hippies of We're Only in It for the Money.
Little sleeker.
And Gone is the big band from Overnight Sensation and the Roxy era.
Mm-hmm.
Gone is Flo and Eddie and their sort of mock teen appeal for a stripped down quartet on the cover. We've got Patrick O'Hearn on the far left here for the viewer. Bass player. Terry Bozzio on the drums. Frank and his wang here on guitar. And
Can you
then
see his wang?
Oh my gosh, the bulge is it's on the LP, it's even more obvious. And then Eddie Jobson, who went on to replace Brian Eno in Roxy Music.
That's pretty cool.
Keyboardist and violinist.
Nice. Let me take a look here.
Sicilian Sausage, dead ahead.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, you're totally right. Anything you want to say? Anything you want to say before we dive into the album itself, besides talking about Frank's saucisson?
Well, I do think that like visually this marked a step in a different direction. And audibly too.
Mm-hmm.
And it was meant to match the content, I feel.
Definitely.
It's him trying to be a rock star. This is his rock star record.
Yep.
This is one of the earliest Zapp albums that I heard in my musical development.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got a long history with it. I used to love it, didn't like it for a while. Now I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. For me, it's a sleeper hit. I think it's not always the first one that I grab, but it does have one of my top 5 favorite Frank tracks on it.
And which one is that?
Black Napkins.
Absolutely.
One of my favorite songs of his of all time. It's my favorite instrumental of his.
It's a wonderful blues tune.
It's a great blues tune, and the guitar on it is amazing.
Yeah.
So
it opens with Wind Up Working in a Gas Station, which is breakneck fast.
Super, super fast.
Like hardcore punk before hardcore punk. Terry Bozzio on the drums, by the way, is like his right hand throughout this whole thing. Because it's mostly Frank, despite who's on the cover. It is mostly Frank playing all the instruments, including synthesizer and bass.
It's funny that you compare it to punk because he wasn't the biggest punk fan.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is 76. So we did not have incredibly fast punk music like what we hear on Wind Up Working at a Gas Station. So in a way, it's a bit ahead of its time. Tasty guitar solo on that one.
I'd agree with that.
Black Napkins is the elongated piece.
Yeah.
The Torture Never Stops follows. Now, this is a monster track.
Wait, did we skip Black Napkins? Is Black Napkins second or third?
Second.
Oh, okay.
Torture Never Stops. Now, this one is a monster track.
I love this song so much. I love that it's Gail on vocals, but just kind of like screeching and moaning.
Something.
But it's like
Plus friend.
plus friend. I just love that this song, I think it tells a story really well, and he did a really good job at painting a soundscape in this song. Where's the friend?
Director of Recreational Activities.
Nice. Sly Dog.
It's a creepy soundscape.
Mm-hmm.
In time, the song evolved. Originally, it sounded more like Smokestack Lightning.
Right.
By the time they have it recorded here, it's quarter note equals 54. It's real slow.
It's really, really slowed down, which I appreciate a lot, especially when you have a song like Wind Up Working in a Gas Station.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice that he slows it down a little bit.
I mean, the variety of pace on this album is pretty astounding just in these first couple tracks. You have Wind Up Working in a Gas Station, which is Speedy Gonzales. Then you have Black Napkins, this romantic blues. Torch Never Stops, which is almost painfully slow.
Yeah. This album is a really good exercise in his different tempos, because later we're experiencing more of that, like, sort of almost Middle Eastern tempo. Like,
yeah, we get that again on the side B.
Right.
Torture Never Stops is a memorable lyric. It's very descriptive, creepy guitar solo.
Also, is it just like telling the story of a guy eating a lot of meat? Like raw meat?
While torture is happening in his basement.
Yeah. That's so gross.
Yeah, we've got torture happening in our basement. So
that's true.
Not
our basement, like where we live. We like the States.
He would come back to this song again and again and again. On the You Can't Do That on Stage Anymore series, there's a killer 20-minute rendition of it on Buffalo, which is a live recording from 1980.
Super, super good.
Great recording.
I love that recording. Just a quick aside, my favorite Frank Zappa album of all time is You Are What You Is. And
it's on the list.
It's so good. That's my all-time hands down favorite, no questions asked. And there's a bunch of songs from that album that are on Buffalo. So if you're looking for a good live album, Buffalo, listen. Okay, go back to you.
Torch Never Stops. Wonderful tune. He recycles it for Thingfish. There's a ton of live versions of it out there on official releases and on bootlegs.
And this is the one that you said he always did live, right?
Once they debuted it, I don't think there was a tour afterwards where they weren't doing it.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
It's a great song. And I can imagine it being really chilling live.
Yeah. Always a great vehicle for solos, too. Now that ends, and then comes Miss Pinky.
P-I-N-K-Y. What a good song. This has a sick bass line. I really like the bass playing on this.
I think that's
art?
No, I think it's a synth bass. That is Frank on the bass.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a killer bass line. And the lyrics, it's about a blow-up doll, Ms. Pinky.
Ms. Pinky.
Who we see in Baby Snakes. That, unfortunately, that really gross guy, Roy, is giving her a bath in the sink.
I remember Miss Pinky.
Yeah, that's right. Any observations about Miss Pinky besides that?
I mean,
it's Frank singing about sex again.
Yeah, it is him singing about sex, but I think this one's maybe a little less obvious to me.
Well, it's about a blow-up doll.
Right.
You can shoot it till your wife gets back.
Yeah. I like this song.
Musically, it grooves.
Yeah.
And it's more about the music than the lyrics, for sure.
Then
we go into Find Her Finer.
Weakest song on the album, in my opinion.
One of his weakest tracks from the 70s.
Yeah, definitely a weaker song. It's not very memorable.
Yeah.
Like,
If I'm hearing this song on a rainy day, it gives the whole album a B+. Like it's that much of a dud.
Yeah. Not my favorite.
Don't care for it.
Yeah.
Though that said, it does feature Donnie Vliet on harmonica.
Don Van.
Absolutely.
One young Don Van.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I can brag about with that song. Now the next tune, Friendly Little Finger, is the second of 3 guitar tracks on this record.
Awesome guitar playing.
Yeah.
This one has such a cool opener. I love how
it's like a Far Eastern type.
Exactly.
Band.
I love that.
Yeah. So with this tune, this is the premiere of one of Frank's signature contributions to music, this thing called Xenochrony. Xenochrony. Xenochrony.
I will never be able to spell that again.
So Xeno, like alien, foreign, chrony, time. This song is composed of 3 different disparate tracks melded together to form one cohesive song. The bass is from one session, I believe from like 76. The drums are from 75. And the guitar solo, I believe, is like an in-studio jam. All recorded at separate dates, not intended to come together as one whole, but Frank put it together as one whole.
Super cool.
And he would do this again a lot on Joe's Garage.
Can't wait to talk about Joe's Garage.
Yeah. Now that ends with a little bit of brass with Bringing in the Sheaves, the old Salvation Army hymn, which is used by the Mothers to introduce this next tune when they did it live, Wonderful Wino. This is another song with some history to it.
Yeah.
This one goes as far back as 1970. Jeff Simmons, who was in the Mothers Mark II as the bass player, co-wrote this song with Frank, and it appears on his solo album, Lucille Has Messed My Mind Up. And if that song title sounds familiar, it's because it is. It's a Jeff Simmons tune. And we'll get to that one soon. But Wonderful Wino is a great track. Through the years, it changes a bit. The Jeff Simmons tune is a bit funky. With the Flo and Eddie Mothers, it's a little slower, more of an acid rock track. On the Lost Episodes, which came out in 96, we have a version from 73 featuring Ricky Lancelotti on vocals.
I really like his voice a lot.
Yeah. It's an outtake from the Overnight Sensation record. It's pretty cool. This, however, is the definitive Frank version. He's singing. It's right in step musically with the album. Loud, crunchy guitars, great solo work throughout. The lyrics are funny. They're front and center. You can hear them quite clearly. And then we go into the title cut.
Super, super good.
Right. So this was ranked by Guitar World as one of the top 100 guitar solos of all time.
I agree with them.
For 11-year-old Alex, that was one of his first intros to Frank Zappa's name, seeing it in print and asking his dad about it and going, oh yeah, that's a pretty good album.
Yeah, I agree. That guitar solo is amazing.
Majestic. Yeah, you get the harp.
Do you remember if they included on that list any other Frank guitar solos?
Just the one, but I'll say this. Zoot Allures is certainly one of his signature tunes, one of his signature guitar tunes. He ranked it as such, that along with Black Napkins and Watermelon and Easter Hay. Now, Zoot Allures was originally going to be a double album.
That's right.
Entitled Night of the Iron Sausage. The Iron Sausage being the Iron Maiden.
Oh.
Yeah. That was a lyric referenced in the original version of The Torture Never Stops.
Got it.
But the other half of the Zoot Allures double album, The Night of the Iron Sausage, is much of what wound up on Sleep Dirt, which also has 3 monster guitar tracks on it. We'll be talking about that one this week, too.
Cool.
I love that one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overlap with this era.
Definitely.
And they flow one into another, and it's a lot of musical colors going on.
I like that about Frank, though.
Yeah.
I like a lot of artists are like, they're super quick to like create something, spit it out, and then they move on from it. And then they'll make comments about like, oh, I'm so sick of that. Or, I wrote that so many years ago and I don't feel anything for it anymore. And I feel like Frank, like, he kept a lot of things thematically and
Lennon was
musically.
notorious for that.
Yeah, like, that's so dismissive of your art and things that you're creating. And like, I understand if maybe you're like, oh, I've evolved or I've moved on from that process. But I think still, like, you can't dismiss a work you created because you created it. And I think Frank did a really good job at, he took things that he maybe created a few years earlier and was able to spin them into something new.
Well, part of it was that he really just was so prolific.
Mm-hmm.
The band that brought us One Size Fits All, they have studio cuts on Bongo Fury. They're on Studio Tan.
Right.
And then Zoot Allures, that's the same group you're hearing on Sleep Dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, a year later, it's a totally different band that you hear on Shake Your Booty.
I think that's really cool.
For the contemporary fans growing up with it, I remember hearing from someone who grew up with Frank that to see this as the record on the album cover and to hear the stripped down sound, buying the album in 76, seeing him in 78 with a totally different band, it was almost disorienting, but still a very rewarding experience.
That's super cool.
Now, last we have the album closer.
Yep.
Disco Boy.
I actually really like the song.
Me too.
We talked about Valley Girl yesterday, and I know a lot of his songs were about
women. Hey, we got Disco Boy and Valley Girl.
Valley Girl. They should date. I mean, I know we
Perhaps
talked.
the song is about their encounter.
Maybe. I mean, yesterday we talked about how he was, he's not afraid to kind of tear down anybody or to not necessarily tear down because that sounds super negative, but critique is maybe a better way to say that.
He was an anti-stupidity activist.
Yeah, he really was. And
anti-stew.
That took me a second.
It'll take a lot of people a second.
But yeah, no, it's all good. It's just it's super late, and I also have a feeling like I might be getting sick. But anyway,
it's the most wonderful.
But I really like
Disco Boy's so cool.
I like this song.
Yeah.
I think it's
I love that bass synth though. It's a really cool sound you get on that.
Yeah.
What else do you like about it though?
I like the subject matter. I think it's really funny. I think that he does a good job of critiquing what was a very silly fad culture at the time. And something that was very fleeting.
And mocking the vanity of it.
The vanity of it, absolutely.
How many times does he comb his hair? Does he go to the mirror to
God, so much.
Go do his hair?
A lot.
It also has the immortal line, "Shake it more than 3 times and you're playing with it."
Yes, this is a very good line.
And then his girl gets scooped up by his best friend and he's left to jerk it.
Sad.
It's Disco Love Tonight.
Any closing thoughts?
For Frank Zappa's solo debut, this was an effective farewell to the past by having no real references, no real musical throwbacks to it. Even though Wonderful Wino's an older tune, he's doing it in a modern, new style.
Right.
And it's all this loud, big, crunchy rock sound. He wouldn't even really replicate this sound on stage.
Very true.
Which is interesting. The tour that came out of this is what produced Zappa in New York.
Mm-hmm.
So he was back at it on the jazz wagon. So to have this heavy rock record, it was as though he was trying to make a point and also trying to recruit new fans. It was a whole new generation in 1976.
Very true.
Right before the arrival of punk.
Mm-hmm.
This is his arena rock record. And I think it's pretty good.
I agree.
Yeah. And it was around this time he produced an album for, who are they? Grand Funk Railroad.
I was going to say.
Good singing, good playing.
I was just thinking or talking to somebody yesterday about the We're an American Band song.
Yeah, great song.
Yes. What a good tune that is.
Produced by Todd Rundgren.
Grand Funk Railroad. Anything else before we close out?
Zoot Allures is a great album. I recommend it. This is another one that I would say, if you were to pitch Zappa to someone who might be a bit skeptical, someone who might be coming from the classic rock world, this would be an album to send their way and say, check him out. I would say this album also firmly cements the legacy of Frank Zappa, Guitar God.
Agreed.
This is his debut, as such with 3 mega tunes showing off his skills.
Agreed. Cool.
Parting thoughts from you.
I dig this album. I really do. It's one that for some reason, it never makes it into my top 5 in terms of albums as a whole, but maybe that's my mistake.
I think it's just outside my top 5.
Yeah.
My top 5 are so beloved. This one's solid. This is a formidable record.
Agreed. Don't overlook this one.
For sure.
Okay.
All right. That is it for Zappadan Night 7. Tomorrow we'll be back for Night 8, marking our first week. And we will pick a good one.
We will. Have a good night.